Hello everyone. So I'm Chris, I'm a physio. I may know some of you from either physio sessions I've done with you or been in the clinic. Here to talk about the non-pharmacological management. So basically, what can we do either without medications or maybe with medications as well. So I'll try and discuss a little bit about what to do, maybe what to avoid, and where you might want to move yourself in terms of looking at exercise management of your AS. All right, I love this slide, it's my favorite slide. I'm glad that it's come up 3 times now. So the important thing on this slide for me is exercise education runs throughout the whole course of spondylitis, and everybody here knows that more than me. The one thing that this slide doesn't say is, it just says exercise. It doesn't say what type of exercise, it doesn't say what to do with your exercise, how often to do it, what type of exercise is best, and maybe we can try and answer that question together a little bit today. I think this is very important to note that anti-inflammatories and the medications work alongside exercise, and often patients can get better effects if they use medications either to get over a flare or in conjunction with their exercise as well. All right, so I tried to list and kind of a vague pyramid here of what exercises are proven to be a little bit better with spondylitis, what exercises are proven to be effective but not as effective as others. You'll see it says inpatient balneal therapy. So what on earth is that? Well, that is basically inpatient spa therapy, and there's a couple of centres in the UK that have done some quite good studies looking at intensive inpatient therapy, swimming in the morning, stretches and exercise in the afternoon over a few weeks to see if they can help with the stiffness, the pain, and basically the stresses of having spondylitis. They've been very effective and show a very good reduction in pain, stiffness, fatigue. However, we don't have access to these in Canada, so I'll talk a little bit about how we can get around that problem. The next thing is supervised group therapy. Supervised group therapy is good for a number of reasons. The first one is that you're supervised, you have somebody that knows about your condition, they can help you to modify your activity and exercise in the right way. The second thing is the group. As you can see, everybody's come here to discuss their condition together and to help support each other, and it's really the group that helps maintain the exercise and maintain the therapeutic aspect and keep you in that exercise longer. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, but that really is the key, is staying in there. Home exercise, it's effective, it works, it can help reduce stiffness, pain, fatigue. A lot of people swear by it. If you're anything like me, I'd love to exercise more. We probably all don't exercise as much as we should. Maybe there's a few people that do. Sorry if you do. Home exercise is effective, but it's not consistent, and that's the main thing. And then I put no exercise in the bottom because no exercise really doesn't have much effect in improving your symptoms, but what no exercise can do is when you're in a flare, when your pain and stiffness are not controlled by medication, not controlled by much, and there are a few people here probably who have had that in the past, you need to not introduce new exercise, you need to not be going out and starting any runs, going out and starting any impact exercise. You need to reduce maybe just to stretching and basic mobility of the joints to help you get through that flare. So that's why I put that in there, because in a way it is effective. All right, so how to measure improvement. If we had our way, this is probably how we would measure improvement all the time. So we'd make little pen marks and then measure away. This has little relevance to your daily life. It's a way that we use to measure progress with each person. All right, the real way to measure improvement, from my opinion, is looking at function. Now, what is function? With spondylitis, we might all agree that morning stiffness plays a big role, general back pain and pain in the joints in general, enthesitis or any heel pain that you might have, and then fatigue, being able to get through your daily activities, get through your work, have energy for everybody else as well. Those are all big things that go towards function. So really, it's function that determines how we measure improvement. So that's when we talk to you in clinic or talk to you in exercise appointments about how are things going, are you able to do more than you were last time I saw you? And that's really how we measure improvement. There are some outcome measures that we do, and that's one of the reasons why we give you the 2 inches of paperwork when you arrive for clinic appointments, because there are some great outcome measures to help us look at that. All right, so what are some of the barriers? Everybody knows there's barriers to exercise and barriers to improving disease activity. So Laura Paslant, one of the physios in the program, did a great study a few years ago looking at some of the barriers, and maybe some people here were involved in that. she asked everybody, what are the barriers to your exercise? What are the barriers to you getting out and doing more? And most people said that they understand the benefits of exercise, like we all think we do. Exercise can help me get fitter, I can lose weight, my joints become healthier. However, a lot of people didn't participate regularly. There's lots of reasons for that. Some of the main reasons I've highlighted here. It's hard work to exercise. You get fatigued, and you get fatigued when you exercise, and you feel fatigued, therefore you can't exercise. The other thing is that you feel tired. The exercise tires you out. So you find that you do one session of exercise and it's too much. That's very common amongst most of the patients that I see. It's common for people in general. There are ways around it. Okay, so here's some of the guiding principles of exercise. I put respect the pain at the top. I think it's a very important thing to remember. You need to think about your pain and think about your stiffness as something that changes. When it's intense, when it's not controlled, then you might need to think about backing off on your exercise a little bit more, going back to your basic stretches, maybe just in the morning, or maybe at the end of the day when you've had a chance to warm up a little bit just through walking around. The other way to think about it is that you need to challenge your pain a little bit. You need to delve into your stiffness a little bit more, and you need to stretch your joints a little bit more aggressively when your flares are gone and when your disease activity is low. Okay? The thing that I would recommend for everybody, if you're starting exercise and you've not done much before, is to start locally and then move globally. What I mean is there's a few key exercises you can do in spondylitis. Bringing a knee to a chest when you're lying in bed, when you've just woken up. Doing some rotational exercises when you're lying in bed. All those things can help significantly to get rid of that morning stiffness and help you get going. Once you've achieved a good level of comfort with those, you should start to move more globally. Start to move the mid-spine, the thoracic spine a little bit more. Move on to the neck, and then start stretching the body in a combined way and progressing that into exercise. There's always something you can do with exercise. There's always a stretch you can do, whether it's just a positional stretch where you're lying and stretching your back, or whether you're doing an active stretch. There's always something you might be able to do. The thing that is important with exercise is to be motivated and to keep doing the exercise. And one of the key things that I hear from people, and not just with spondylitis, people in general, that you start exercise, it feels good, but then you don't get in the habit and it peters away. This is very common, and the research emphasizes that in spondylitis as well. The thing that I recommend people do is find something they enjoy. It's maybe something they did before. It might be something that's not necessarily recommended for spondylitis, for instance running. We always say low impact or no impact. I recommend you find something that works for you, and then work with a therapist or work with your doctor to modify that and make it suitable for your disease. There's clinics in Toronto that work on low impact running, for instance. So if running is your passion, and I've seen a couple of patients who love running, you need to try and adapt what you do, and that'll keep you doing it over time. And if you can adapt it appropriately, then your body will be able to do it with you over time as well. Okay? Daily exercise. Now, this is something I've heard from patients, but also from the research as well. If you do your activity on a daily basis, it helps your disease, it helps the stiffness, it helps the pain. This is something we need to focus on your needs. So what are your needs in particular? Some people have significant morning stiffness and just need to get over that, and once they're through it, they're fine. Other people have significant fatigue, so you really need to focus on your own needs and express those to us when you see us. Express your fatigue, your tiredness, your stiffness, and let us know what your issue is. All right, so these are some of the exercises that you might be given when you see someone for an appointment about spondylitis. You see that they're quite different from maybe other stretching exercises you might have seen. They are adapted to work on rotation, on stretching of the front of the chest, to work on multiple joints at the same time. We don't have all day to stretch, you've got to try and combine things. And these are things that help strengthen some muscles and stretch others. They're a little bit different to regular exercise, and so I recommend that you see a physical therapist with experience in spondylitis and you get exercises that are right for you. You'll notice that a lot of these could be done in sitting, and one of the keys to that is function with your stretching, that you work 8-10 hours a day. You need to be able to stretch throughout that day, and so you need to find exercises like some of these ones, the mouse maybe doesn't work, that you can do in sitting. So when you're at work, you're not distracted so much from your work, but you can still stretch and function. Okay, I'll try and keep us on time. So some of the areas to focus on with strengthening. Your neck stabilizers, what I mean by that is the muscles in your neck, you need to be able to strengthen those effectively. The erector spinae, they're the muscles that run along the side of your vertebra, along the side of your spine at the back. They're commonly weak in this condition, and it's important to keep strengthening them. The abdominals get very weak, and the gluteal muscles. So having gone through all those muscles that you need to strengthen, who has time? Well, the key is to think functionally. I put this picture up because I think it's a fantastic example of how you can work strengthening into your everyday routine. Sitting on this ball would help strengthen your muscles, help with your pelvic control, and help get you in a good posture. Sitting on a ball lets you know when you're in the wrong posture, because you might fall off, and it lets you know when you're in the right posture, because you can sit up nice and tall. This might not be right for you, but what I mean by this slide is think about your daily activities and work with your therapist to come up with solutions that help strengthen you throughout the day. Okay, so other activities. Swimming, Pilates, yoga, massage, acupuncture, they're all effective in spondylitis to some degree. There's a great review paper that was done just a couple of months ago by the team out in Dublin, and they went through all of the research from inception to 2013, looking at all the papers that have studied exercise. And looking at the results was a bit interesting. They found that exercise versus nothing is good. Exercise always has a significant difference versus no activity at all. Whether that exercise is walking, swimming, a particular type of therapy, global postural reduction is something that's commonly done in Europe. But when they looked at activity versus activity, when they looked at swimming versus walking, walking versus stretching, they couldn't tweeze out a difference significantly. And what that tells me is that something is better than nothing. If you have an exercise program that you can tolerate, that you can do daily, that doesn't flare your symptoms up and that helps your symptoms resolve or helps your symptoms improve on a daily basis, then that's something that you should continue with. There are better activities than others. Swimming, going back to my slide about the balneal therapy and the inpatient spa therapy, if you contact the Arthritis Society, they have a wonderful list of warm water pools in Toronto, and they're all over the GTA, and these pools are a little bit warmer than normal. You can go and do some stretching activities. You don't have to swim. You can stand, do some leg activities, and that might help if you do that a few times a week, combined with some low impact activities and stretching. Maybe that would be similar to one of the fantastic inpatient programs in the UK. There are things you can do to adapt and to use the research to better what you do, but at the end of the day it's about finding something that's right for you, I think. All right. This slide has lots of things on it, and I think it tries to convey the complexity of everybody's daily activities, everybody's disease, and how someone's disease can go up and go down, how things become prominent at different times for different people. And that's why it's important to work with your therapist, whether you have a therapist in the clinic, whether you work with Laura, a therapist at the Arthritis Society, or a regular physical therapist in the community. You need to learn how to manage your disease and what exercises to do when, and how to overcome your flares, how to make the most of the time you have if you're not in a flare, if you're in somewhat of a remission. And that's the key thing, is to weigh all these factors and then find something that works for you. Okay. That's everything. Thank you.